Not setting up right there. So we'll have to see the M8 setting upon the troops inside my base, who are heavily wounded and awaiting reinforcements. Pioneer team is annihilated most tragically, but the pack does set up. And the M8, unaware of this, managed to gain veterancy 1, but only to receive several shots from the pack. And a Panzerfaust is also fired, and the gunner is killed. The M8 is certainly in dire situation. And the M8 is wrecked, leaving behind another wreck, in fact, for me to salvage for munitions. Grenadiers are forced back, but the victory point is no longer in American hands. And we do see another attempt by the engineers to break through here. Quite aggressive with the barbed wire cutting, and of course not keen on just having me sit and do whatever I want. And we have the first sniper on the field. Of course, I do feel the one of the German troops' reflection on this is snipers. The assholes have snipers. Does also very nicely reflect my own opinion on them, and of course my reaction. That is, I don't like them. And I'm not usually the greatest user of them myself, as I do feel they take a bit too much management. And a bike is quite quickly on the field and opening fire, forcing the sniper to hide inside a building. Of course, the sniper of might have been useful, but at the same time then I'd sort of been playing into his own games. And I'm not the hugest micromanagement fellow. I'm more into strategy and tactics, not managing a single unit. And I do dislike snipers for that fact, since they can be used rather nastily. Sniper taking out a Grenadier right through all of this. Very skilled shot, but the bike is quick to move in, trying to hunt down this sniper once more. And mortar rounds as well, trying to hit the last presumed position of the sniper. The sniper is right out in the road and is killed. Excellently done, and then proceeds to hit a mine right in the crossroads. Of course, mining the crossroads is an excellent spot. Of course, unless you're the one who actually hits the mine. And fresh snipers moving in, so we're seeing a lot of snipers, a lot of manpower being used into snipers. And still no doctrine for me, but let's go have a look at the Americans, the 1st Infantry Division. No doctrine either. Sniper continuing to hunt down troops of the Wehrmacht, the 352nd, not really liking snipers. Riflemen moving in towards the west, and coming under fire from the MG42. And we see a 57mm anti-tank gun also arriving on the field. Will more snipers be produced? I'm not sure. Or perhaps riflemen, we'll have to see. But the sniper is certainly perilously close, taking a bit of damage from the mines, and of course now being revealed, coming under fire from all these Grenadiers, and might be lost, in fact. Of course, you don't need a sniper to actually deal with snipers, but of course it makes it a lot easier on some points. Of course, it also means you can have a rather nasty game of trying to hunt them, a game of cat and mouse, which I feel, at least to me, takes away from the actual strategy part of the game, since you're forced to actually manage a very few specific set of units. Again, not really my type of game. If I were into that sort of game, I'd probably be playing StarCraft. But let's not devolve into a rant about snipers, although I do wish some changes would be made, so they aren't so Jedi-like. Anyhow, fresh engineer assault minesweepers and flamethrowers, Grenadiers trying to take territory back. Still retaining all of my infantry teams, I do believe. Not a single loss there. And a Sturm Armory going up. Engineers moving in, forcing these Grenadiers back. And the mortar team with 7 kills so far, doing nicely. And we see the second Grenadier team moving in to back up the first one, opening fire. And this 57mm anti-tank gun is creeping forwards. Probably expecting some sort of armor, but so far I've not really gone for that. And we see another sniper, so far 2 snipers. And I suspect he has already lost 1, possibly 2. I'm not entirely sure. I don't believe there's a tree essential, so there might actually only be 1 lost. Yes, indeed. And moving ahead, mortar rounds taking out 2 engineers. Very nicely done for the mortar crew, forcing the engineers back. Sniper once more creeping ahead, and once more revealing himself. Grenadiers pulling back, hoping to rush them in numbers, or at least that's one of my preferred tactics. And we see the Sturm Armory ready. We'll have to see what will come out of that. Perhaps a Nebelwerfer, perhaps a Stug. Probably not an officer. And 2 Grenadiers down. Lots of sniper spam. That's not really one of my favorites either, since, for example, for the Wehrmacht, you can easily lose half the Grenadier squad there, or for the Panzer Elite, almost 2/3 of your team. That's not really very nice, I feel. And there we go. And of course they are instantly stealth, and of course hard to actually get back at. Not really what I find as fun. And further Volksgrenadiers taking heavy losses, compelling a retreat. And another bike being sent out to try and salvage this situation. Mortar team getting out of their pack, also trying to move away. MG42 team as well. Heavy shots, having to retreat, and the pack is exposed by the flamethrower. Bike moving in will try and deal with these nasty snipers, while the Grenadier team is being faced down by riflemen and engineers. Snipers into a full retreat, and we have the first Nebelwerfer firing away. Bike now dealing with these engineers, and we do see Grenadiers continuing to hold their line. Grenade going off right into these riflemen, killing one, compelling the engineers to retreat, and now the Grenadiers are pulling back since they're not confident they can actually deal with these riflemen. A full retreat right from the eastern part as well for both sides. Only a bike to hold the line, but our Nebelwerfers will certainly help alongside the mortar, and further Volksgrenadiers moving ahead. Fresh Volksgrenadiers moving to the west as well to try and dislodge. And of course, as you may have noticed, most of the American effort has so far been in the eastern part, not really in the west. Only a few teams, and I of course can be rather quick to force that back, and I'm slowly trying to divert more resources towards that, which will of course force him to spread his forces further out, and of course also limit the effectiveness of his snipers a bit more, since they can only really be on one half at a time. And certainly with that sort of tactic and of course that sort of manpower, he really needs them together for the most effectiveness. Bike moving ahead to try and spot out any nasty fellows, and we see this anti-tank gun had in fact been cleared out. I do believe there has been some changes to the chance of anti-tank guns hitting jeeps and bikes, but I'm not entirely sure it actually applies to the 50mm anti-tank gun against bikes, so don't hold me on that. But the anti-tank gun is once more exposed, and so are these riflemen inside this building a bit. There's certainly far more Volksgrenadiers to outnumber them. And we see the Nebelwerfer, or hear it in fact, fire off once more. And we have a bit of engagement right here. Volksgrenadiers forced to retreat as numerous engineers with flamethrowers moving in, a veritable assault squad. And Volksgrenadiers hitting a mine. Another engineer going down to Grenadier fire, who has in a bit of a nasty situation. What in the bushes? Engineer team going down, and looks like the other one might as well. No, the Grenadiers are forced to retreat. One going down in flames, and a fresh mine going down. And we see this nasty duo of snipers moving ahead again, much to my frustration. And a bunker going up, since I'm rather expecting this to be the main focal point of the Americans, and of course a point of attrition, at which point I'd rather like a medic bunker to actually try and minimize that, even though with snipers it's certainly going to be a bit difficult to actually get any wounded back. Bike moving in once more, and a direct shot knocking out from the anti-tank gun, thus showing that I'm not entirely sure why, if the anti-tank gun thing against jeeps and bikes actually apply to the bike. And further Volksgrenadiers taking heavy sniper fire and forced to retreat, and we see a firestorm going off, and a calliope from the Americans moving in as well. Riflemen do make it out of there, but they do take some losses from the firestorm. But it does also prevent the victory point from falling into American hands. And the calliope slowly trundles about. There's been no changes to the calliope actually, so nothing there. And let's return to me, the 352nd. I have gone terror, of course. Rifleman team moving in from here, not entirely sure why though. And quickly getting heavily fired upon from this MG42. And calliope blasting away straight into here, killing the mortar team in a horrific series of explosions. And this pioneer team barely survives with a sliver of health and only one man. And a sniper gets killed by these American snipers, not caring for Geneva Convention or the laws of physics, since they are able to stealth right out in the middle of everything. Volksgrenadiers moving ahead, and we see me successfully beginning to seize territory in the west as well, slowly diverting forces towards that. And the Nebelwerfer once more opening away, and we see a sniper slowly creeping ahead, but might find himself confronted with all of these Volksgrenadiers and of course the MG42. Nebelwerfer not really hitting anything, and sniper fire wailing away at the Volksgrenadiers and a Stug 4 with Veterancy 1 as well now on the field. Snipers not uncloaking, just pulling back, but this anti-tank gun will certainly be cleared out, opening up for my Stug to move in, and of course the bike as well. And now these snipers are forced to retreat, and this Sherman Calliope is certainly also slightly exposed as now the Stug moves in. Sturmgeschützsphere. And a rear hit to the Calliope. The Calliope itself didn't actually see service in Normandy. It only arrived by the time the Americans were entering Germany. Another shot to the rear. Stug continuing to try and hunt down this, but not continuing too far for the fear of anti-tank guns, which can easily deal with this Stug, even with Veterancy 1. Volksgrenadiers taking some losses and will have to pull back. Stug not hitting anything, and we see a pineapple grenade having received a buff, so they're more accurate and killing a Volksgrenadier. Now only a Stug to deal with these riflemen, and the Stug continuing right through, almost crushing these riflemen, but getting away. And we see another skirmish right here. Grenadiers forced to retreat, sadly. And we see Veterancy 2 going up for armor, which will certainly give my Stug an MG42. Most useful, and a fresh anti-tank gun moving in. And we hear the howling of the Nebelwerfer once more, partly to try and discourage any snipers from moving about. And the anti-tank gun gets suppressed, not that it actually affects it. And this also means, and I do remember there's another change for the Nebelwerfer. Actually, its rate of suppression for its rounds has actually been minimized, so it doesn't suppress everything nearby, although it still deals nice suppression. Calliope shot again, only killing an MG42 gun and slightly damaging the Stug 4, which heroically still holds the line, now with MG42 to certainly discourage anyone from moving ahead. Snipers once more sneaking ahead, and the propaganda war is prepared to be unleashed upon unsuspecting Americans. And snipers once more moving ahead, rather wanting to clear out things, but slowly beginning to lack in infantry. Actually, he only has 2 teams now, and 2 teams of engineers, since snipers do require a lot of manpower, and so do Calliopes and anti-tank guns, which he do seem to be losing at a rather increased rate. Stug taking on these riflemen. MG42 already doing a bit of damage, one going down to a precise shot, and we see BARs being equipped for these riflemen, perhaps a bit too late, and I do wonder why he hasn't gone for the medic station, and a very explosive shot killing further more riflemen. Looks like this team might be knocked out. Yes indeed, only 1 rifleman team for the Americans. This is certainly not good for them, and while these snipers will certainly continue to wreak havoc, of course they aren't really effective combat troops on their own, and if he does lose them, of course he's going to pay a lot more manpower to actually replace them. Volksgrenadier team down, the first team of infantry to be lost. I fear most tragic. Damn these snipers. And Stug might try and take a shot. Will it hit? No. Doesn't even fire. Nebelwerfer firing once more, howling, and the Americans are trying to seize this anti-tank gun. But they are taking shots, getting killed and getting suppressed by this Stug and their attendant Volksgrenadiers. And are any troops being produced? Not really, no. And we hear a Calliope shot roaring away. Volksgrenadiers might have to get out of there, and they do barely, but this Stug is taking a lot of fire. Another rear armor hit, and certainly not looking good, but the Stug does manage to get out of there, and Veterancy 2 for infantry is on the way. Medics apparently taking a slight break since they don't feel there are any wounded, and we see German forces continuing to be sneaky on the west, and we see me equipping the LMG-42